Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is EsJu. I'm a recent CAD graduate. Um, I just decided to make a quick, simple tutorial how to basically get set up for, your first drawings if you want to learn, if you're new to the program like in college or, just as a hobby to pick up. So the first thing you want to do, obviously, I guess I should get this out the way. I'm using the just to get it started. Once you do finally open up AutoCAD, the first thing you want to do is obviously open up a new file. Once you open it, you might be a little bit overwhelmed, like what's going on. You press around, you might see a blue box, a green box, and obviously the first thing you want to do is kind of mess around, play with it, and you'll probably end up automatically seeing this line command. And if you press it and you click anywhere, obviously congratulations, you finally started to draw. Now there is another. Before I move forward, I do want to speak about setting up your units, and it's something that I had trouble even finding videos on, on YouTube. So that's what kind of prompted me to make this video. So if you come and check up here and click on dimension, you'll see your command box give you the specific, wording. You can read it if you want. That's probably the best thing you can do. That's what every professor has to always told me. And your best friend is always going to be what's it asking of you right here. But just for quick clarifications, if you hover over a certain area, it'll automatically give you the distance of what you're hovering, or you can just click on these nodes, and I'll tell you more about these nodes in a bit. Right now, I just exited it. Obviously, if you click just the exit button on your keyboard, it automatically takes it off from any command. But the nodes I was talking about, if you click on any line, these boxes are your nodes. And that will pretty much be how you change direction, movement of whatever line, or in other cases it might be a polyline, and we'll get to that later. Now one thing you might notice right off the bat is if you zoom in using your scroll wheel, these measurements are in decimals, and as far as we know, it might be metric, it might be Imperial. I'm from the States, and obviously we use Imperial, so metric ain't my best friend. I wish we learned it, but that's not the case. So before we get in, moving forward with anything else, this is something that I want to tackle first. Now the way I was taught to set up at least for our units for Imperial, which is feet and inches, is you can come and click down here in the command prompt box, or if you just exit and click exit, it'll give you cancel. You don't have to manually come and type it out here. You can literally just begin typing units, the word units, and automatically open up the prompt box. And we have three options. You can hover over it, click it, and automatically open up. You can press enter and it'll open up, or the simplest and easiest way, which you can also do as long as your first pick, is press spacebar, and then your units box will open up. So back to what I was saying about how I learn in Imperial metric. So the way my professor ended up teaching me is right off the bat, you want to change on your length little space box, change it from decimal, and it's gonna sound contradicting because, like, if you're in engineering courses, you would have been thinking, oh, engineering. Never use engineering, never use fractional, scientific, and even decimal, I've only used them for civil work, and that's very minimal. But typically everything you're going to do is going to be in architecture. Your precision is pretty much, going to be your, I guess you can kind of say your tolerance, or literally precision. Never touched it. It always stayed at 1/16 of an inch. Your angle, which is very important, you're always going to use degrees, minutes, and seconds, which will give you three different numbers to go along with it. It's mainly more convenient for civil wise, like for the civil departments, but regardless, that's what we use, and your precision on this one will matter definitely. As far as I remember, it's always going to be this third option right here. I wish I could tell you why. I don't know either. Remember, I'm a recent graduate student. This was what was taught. I'm pretty sure that's what he was taught as well. There's a reason for everything. Just trying to be a little bit relatable. It's like a student teaching another student. Anyways, that's pretty much going to be everything you're going to be doing in this box in your drawing units. You don't have to click anything else. Once you got everything situated, go ahead and click OK. And you might be wondering, well, how come this hasn't changed? Well, if we go ahead and you can either click up here where it says dimension, or again, you can start typing out. You can press DIM and just dim is more than enough, and it'll prompt you to your dimension command. Now I can click over here and oh, look at that, nothing has changed, and I can tell you exactly why in a bit. Alright guys, so in order to fix this, aside from setting up your units, is you want to go ahead and type out dim, and you can press S and it'll give you different options. Excuse me, it'll be dim style. Now this new box will show up, and as you can tell, it's going to give you different, like it's going to give you a standard preview of what it's already showing as. You can make your own if you want, but typically what I do, or what we did, is just modify this current one that we have, and then another pop-up window will open up. The beyond dimension line, that's going to be, don't let me lie to y'all. Just set it up to 330 seconds. That's what we had it up to. Your offset from origin, that will stay as 1/16 of an inch. And from there, you can obviously customize this to whatever color you want, just to make it easier for yourself if you wish. When you go into the actual industry, you know, every company's gonna have their own set of stuff already set. You know, all of this is gonna be pre-arranged already. But for learning purposes, if you want to follow along, I'm gonna go ahead and just make it, you know, I'll make it cyan, and this will prompt you to this. Like, it will give you a preview as well. Now I'll apply that as well to my extension lines, which you will see what changes, and it's gonna be these lines right here. Moving forward, I'm gonna end up going to the next tab, which is gonna be symbols and arrows. Now for symbols and arrows, it's gonna be the same thing. I'm gonna go ahead and change this to 330 seconds for my arrow size, and aside from that, that will be the only thing we change from here. Now on to the next, and again continuing the trend of our text type being 330 seconds. And then from here, I will end up setting up my vertical for text placement. From here, I'm actually going to, instead of being centered, how it is shown right here, I'm going to go ahead and put it above so that I can show like that. Now it's up to you in terms of preference, because you can obviously, you know, put it outside. Well, actually I don't know what that one is, but you can put it below, back to wherever centered, but I personally do like it to be above, especially when editing, like doing simple pencil whipping changes. It does help. Aside from that, our text alignment, instead of being horizontal, I'm going to go ahead and align with dimension line. The difference you can see, it's right here. Instead of being, you know, horizontal as the name suggests, it's going to be going along with whatever dimension line you're having with, which also goes by the angle. It's up to preference again. Now here, we will be going off of our typical 330 seconds, and I'm gonna make this a 1/16. The offset from dimension line, that's pretty much gonna be the distance between your actual number and your line right here. So let's go ahead and go to the next tab, which will be fit. Now, the most important thing I would suggest going to do in this particular tab is going to be, instead of using the overall scale, you can set up to whatever you want. For simplicity, because the dimension lines will become very small even at larger scale, unless you have it set up and you're going to always be in that specific, drawing that specific large or small scale. Go ahead and click it to scale dimension to layout, and I'll show you probably once I'm done with all this why I say that. Aside from that, I'm gonna have go ahead and put both text and arrows right here. when there's enough room, both texts they tend to extend. Otherwise, it'll become out like this. This is the major one. And honestly, that's probably gonna be better. But I'm gonna have it like this for now. You can always change it however you wish to have it. And those were the two main things to change here. Go to both text and arrows on your fit options, and then the scale dimensions to layout. And now it brings us to our primary units. Now for our primary units, just like we did, I guess you could have done your units in this tab as well. As you can see, it's back to what it was originally in the beginning of the video. Again, just go back to architecture, 1/16 of an inch for precision. This is more a preference for yourself. I personally like diagonal. That way it shows how you. It's a preference thing. Diagonal to me has always looked better. Aside from that, I'm gonna go ahead and remove this. Don't ask me why. I don't know yet. That's what it was. And then going back to again our degrees. Obviously, head back to degrees, minutes and seconds, and it's gonna be this third option or fourth option, however you want to see it. So the way I see it is the first double zero at the end, and from there that'll be it for the primary units. Now moving to alternate units, we absolutely did nothing in terms of this tab, so you can go ahead and just skip it. But for tolerance, the only thing that we did change, or that was changed for us, we just set this to 0.75, which is three quarter of an inch, and that was it. You can come back, change it, and it won't be automatically formatted to that. Once you get to this point and you have everything checked out how you wish to have it, go ahead and just press OK, and it will update this as well. I mean, it already has been updated, and you can either create a new one, or I think you can create a new one and with this setup, and it'll just pop up another section right here. But you do want to go ahead and put set current. Sometimes it automatically adjusts just by clicking that, but I go ahead and just click it multiple times and then hit close. And as you can see, our lines have already shown, changed color, and also went from decimals to feet and inches. There's another step that I almost forgot to tell you about. Go ahead and click DS, and it's going to give you your design settings. So right here is your object snap. There's two. Well, it's actually three, but your best friend's always going to be F8, and I'll explain to you in a bit. But right here, right off the bat, the first thing that's going to come up is going to be your object snap tab. Right here's where I don't know if you were able to notice throughout the video, but there's like when I told you about nodes, and sometimes they'll change to green. That's where you come to click this. This is pretty much what you end up preferring. You can add or remove some of the things. I personally would always take off the geometric center, the insertion, and I will have nearest onto it, and that's about it. I'll go ahead and do it like that. For portrait tracking, which is going to be your F10, this is where this icon right here shows. So there's this right angle is going to be your F8, and it's going to be your F11, I believe. Oh, I'm sorry, F10. And go ahead and put it on 15 degrees, and I'll explain to you in a bit why. Other than that, you probably won't unless you wish to, but that's going to be your main tabs: your object snap and portrait tracking. Any other such stuff you can go ahead and just leave alone. Press OK. So right now, as you can come down here and hover over it, as you can see, when it's highlighted, it's on, and you can only choose between both of them at once. You can't have them both on or off. What's that showing? As you can see, this is your ortho mode, which is F8. So back to what I was explaining. If you go ahead and just type L and enter, or spacebar enter, as you can see, it's only giving me the option to go left, on your wire x-axis. That's what F8 does. So it gives you sharper, quicker ways to go about it like this, in order just to make 90-degree angles. Now if you go ahead, you can either come down here, exit obviously, you can come here and click down here, or I mean, as you can see it says F8, you can click, F10, you can click it on your keyboard and I'll adjust it, turns it on. So hit L again. So now you see this green line. So back to what I was talking to you about. As you can see, it gives you your measurement, which this right here is 2 inches and 1/16. Obviously, the more you come out, the less or less it'll be. And then it also gives you your degrees. The 15 degree that it was shown in the porter tracking, that means that every single time the green line shows up, that's going to be 15 degrees either added, it's going to be added or subtracted. So right down here is 270, obviously all the way to the right is your 0 degrees, all the way up your 90 degrees, and it's going to go up by increments of 15. It's very helpful for a lot of things. I personally like to use F10 mainly than F8. If 15 is too big for you, you can always do it at 45 degree angles, and it will only show up at your 45s. So it all depends on preference, but 15 degrees is typically good for me, and just in general standards. At that point, if you just hit 90 degrees, then you might as well just stick at with F8 with your ortho on. Now that we have all that situated, like the very basics, fundamentals of setting up your CAD file, you can go ahead and actually start drawing. I'm gonna go ahead and highlight everything, press E, spacebar, delete it. Another fun fact, let's just use the line command again. Let's say you press exit. You can exit by obviously clicking exit, or you can re-enter and press spacebar and it'll take it off. Just like it automatically closes it as well, you can also, it'll pop up if you press enter or spacebar again, it'll automatically use the same command that you previously used. So in our case was the line command. Again, as you can see, if you go through all of this, it'll tell you the different kinds of different commands. It's pretty quick and simple to memorize them by memory, because you can literally just press CO and it'll be copy, and from here you can just click one, or let's just say I want to copy this right here. Once you have everything highlighted, double press it. You can click a specific node. You can see this is your nearest with the X. This is perpendicular. Your midpoint is going to be the triangle, and obviously your endpoint is going to be with the squares. That's again in our DS settings. I probably will remove nearest, but for this case, let's say I want the base point. It's asking me in the command block to choose the base point, and personally I'm just going to click this bottom point, and as you can see, it will copy whatever from whatever location you did the base point. From there, we can go ahead and talk about the offset command. So let's just go ahead and delete all of this. Go ahead and draw yourself a line. It doesn't matter the length. For now, we're just gonna make it a basic line. So the offset command, if you can just press O, or if you want to be on the safe side, you can press OF, and it'll say specify this is command. So right here, you can either just click right here and choose a specific command like this, but if you want to get exactly 1 foot, you're here, fighting for your life, just trying to get it, wasting time. Go ahead and exit out of it, type offset again, or just O, space, and enter, or whatever. You don't have to manually click anything around here. You can just go ahead and type out in the box. You do want to be very specific. If you're going to be doing 10 inches, just put 10, and that'll be your 10 inches. And spacebar, and that's 10 inches from there. Now if you want to do 10 feet, again we press enter again. As you can see, the previous one was 10 inches. If you do 10 feet, you will have to manually put the foot symbol, and then it's going to give you the distance that you can have it at 10 inches. I will zoom out just because, as you can see, 10 inches right there was already big enough. So you can click whichever line you want to offset to, and go ahead and click this one. And as you can see, if you go past the X or Y axis of it, or in this case the X axis, you can put it either offset it above or below it, and it's at 10 feet. And if you want to be make sure that it is, even though once you get the hang of it, you're gonna tend to trust the software and not waste your time double checking. If you type out dimension, click a certain point right here. As long as you hit that anything related to it, as you can see how small it is right here, you're gonna have to zoom in, and that's 10 feet right there. Let's do it again, but let's have it done right here in this bottom one. And again, you can put it however you want. Go on the left side, and it's gonna be 10 inches. Now let's say let's draw a box. Right here, you can probably use your F8, your ortho on, just to make it simple. Let's do a 10 by 10 box. So 10 by 10 inches. So 10 inches. Oops. 10, and you can do 10 inches again, or if you just type in C and enter, it'll close up on wherever you first started off. Since I did that hiccup where I restarted again, that's where it ended. But you can just click this node, and as long as it's that green, that means you're gonna fully close it. But let's just say you made the line and you were just drawing by by hand, not really typing out measurements. The trim command right here lets you can just press TR if you wish, lets you cut off this specific area or any specific area as long as it's touching off of it. So if you made a mistake, especially if let's say it's like that far away, the only way you notice by zooming in, go ahead and do the trim command, and then it'll automatically trim it out, and as you can see by the node, it's right on point. Now let's do the copy command. You can just press CO. You can click anywhere. You don't have to specifically click anywhere on the line. You can click down here and move it to whatever direction. Again, you can just type in however far you want it to be. In this situation, I'm gonna go ahead and put 24 inches, or you can just put 2 feet, but 24 inches is pretty fast for me. And I'll make a copy it 24 inches to the left side, which was the direction I was going to. Now, there's another command called extend. Don't confuse extend and stretch, as they are completely different. For the extend command, it's going to be on this little drop down next to trim. You can go ahead and do it like this, or you can just type in EX and just enter. So what extend does is it'll, on any node or line that just like the trim, even if it was completely to the corner, it would extend that specific line. But as you can see, it gives you that little error symbol. That's because there's nothing right there to extend to. If you just put a random line right here, and then you type in EX and it extends to that nearest line object. The one thing you do want to consider is that if let's say you highlight it, remember you extended this specific line coming up here. So if you highlight it with the green, or just in general, it will delete everything. So this is where the trim command comes in. You type in TR, hit this line. Now you'll be able to delete these 2 unnecessary lines. So somewhere in the video I did mention that you can go ahead and type in dimension lines, like that way you can see the difference. Oops. And in this case, I'm gonna go ahead. Okay, so let's go ahead and move this line how far out and extend here. Go ahead and delete this. Again, if you just hover above it at a certain angle, it gives you the whole portion that you want, unless you want it just to measure to the exact middle or wherever you want it to be. That's how it shows it. In this case, it's only highlighting that 12 inch, a 10 inch that we typed in. But right here, I actually want to show the whole across. And again, you can't even see the measurement. And I'll explain to you why. Because typically right now we're in model space. Model space is pretty much where everything happens in terms of what you're modeling, obviously. If you go to your layout down here in the bottom left, you can see 1 and 2. Go ahead and go to 1, and this will pop up. Go ahead and click new, or you don't have to click new, but however works for you. From here, you're going to go ahead and first thing set up is going to be your printer plotter. This is going to be pretty much the dimension that your actual, however you're going to be printing out based on your printer. But for the sake of this tutorial, typically a lot of the work that we had to do at school was to convert it to a PDF, unless we were specifically printing it out. There's a difference between Microsoft Print to PDF and then Draw into PDF. The Draw into PDF, which is this one right here highlighted, is one that you can obviously convert to PDF, but then you can revert it. Let's say you share the PDF with somebody through email or whatever, they can go ahead and import that PDF and literally convert it back to DWG, which you can go ahead and do it where it's up here in this insert tab, and you can import PDF. If you do that with, if you just turn your drawing into a PDF or a regular PDF, they wouldn't be able to do that. I'm pretty sure there is ways to do it, but for the sake of this, let's go ahead and do draw into PDF. And then it'll give you this preview of how the paper size that you're going to be using. Typically in industry, a lot of times we use 11 by 17, but for this case, let's go ahead and just use what's already here pop up, which is 11 by 8.5. It's going to give you a landscape format. It's going to be 2 ANSI A's, both same measurements, but it switches up. Typically, you're going to always have it, have it in landscape mode like this. You never want to really mess with this because you want everything to be to inches or like true unit. Because if you did fit to paper, then it messes up a lot of things. If you come up here to plot style tables, that's pretty much where, like if you have presets or by client base, they have their own stuff set up. But right here, you can choose if you want this to be in color or in black and gray or black and white. Black and white being monochrome, which is typically what we ended up always using, monochrome. Keep it like that as well. The windows and layouts, windows if you just want a specific area to that you want to print out, but typically if you just go ahead and leave it in layout, that's fine. Everything else, leave it as is. I want to touch it, and if you click OK, it's going to set up your first one, which is going to be the new setup. Again, click set to current. As you can see, this actual box changed. Go ahead and click close, and then this new window pops up. So what you're currently seeing is actually, if you see here, if you hover over, it's going to tell you this is how you switch between model space and paper space. Now you may be wondering, well, what's the difference? Well, like up here it's model space, but now we're both model space in this tab. Well, this is a quick access to model space. You don't ever want to really start drawing because you can draw in paper space, draw anywhere. But the thing is, it's not going to be to scale of however you had it previously. Oops. And whatever it is, so the only things that will be printed out or plotted is going to be inside these dotted lines. And as I mentioned, the only thing that's going to be printed out is going to be inside these dotted lines or dashed lines. And this is going to be your viewport. That's pretty much going to be what you see from model space from paper space. I don't know if that makes sense, but what you do want to do, you can make it larger. Again, the only thing that will be printed or shown is within these dashed lines. So if you want, grab this note. See how it doesn't let me go diagonally? That's because we still have to turn off both. And you can zoom in, get as close as you want, and do the same thing on the opposite side. So now our viewport is actually going to be covering everything that's in the dash line. If you highlight viewport and you hover over it, you see where the color says by layer. There's another property and very important things to talk about. But in this tutorial, just to be quick about it, let's go ahead and click up here where it says layer properties. You can go ahead and this is going to be your layers. I'm not going to explain to it right now, just follow along. If you click this one right here, it's going to be how you make a new layer. Let's call this viewport. And this is where it matters. Because right here, if I stretch it out, plot is pretty much the word for print. And if you go ahead and click it, and you see this little minus sign, that means that anything that isn't shown like this, or I mean that you clicked on like this, will not be printed. It'll still show here, but once you actually starting to print it out or preview it, it's not going to show that specific layer. Let me go ahead and close this. So now we made it. That's it. That's all you had to do. Obviously, there's other things, but again, we're not going to be talking about this in this tutorial. Now, go ahead and click this viewport line again, and you can see. You're like, oh, what's going on? Like, anything changed? No. You have to go ahead and click on this drop down, and it's going to be your different viewports. So this is where you want to switch it from these other two different ones. Because right here you can customize it to say you want it to be steel, you're working with steel, plastics, concrete, whatever. It's very customizable, which you can change different colors. But again, let's go ahead and click into our viewport, because now, as you can see, it's not a thick line either, and it's not going to show up once we click print. And you can also see it if you type in PRE for preview. So now the only thing that's showing is what we had before. Otherwise, if we click it, set it back to the normal, click preview, you see this now the line actually shows. If you have a border, like typically, you have a border based on a company, or maybe you have your own company, then that's kind of where it matters. But for this case, I guess it's fine to leave it that way. You have a guideline to kind of see what everything drew. But typically, I would definitely leave it as not printable. And now you're also probably wondering, well, how come the grid lines aren't showing up when printed? Well, you don't want it to show up regardless. But something you do want to get rid of is the grid lines, just because it makes it easier, at least for me, easier to view it. If you go to model space by just clicking this again, you're going to see these lines, these dash lines. This can be your grid mode. If you click it, it removes it. So now you only see what's actually clear there. Now this is where all this dimension line kind of matters. I'm going to go ahead and delete this, because you can also delete stuff from paper space, but remember, it's like you're still in model space as long as right here says model. Otherwise, you can't do nothing here. As much as highlight, it's only going to highlight the viewport, paper space. I can't do anything outside here, only inside. If you double click your scroll wheel, it'll automatically zoom in to fit everything that was drawn and that I can see, because you can make a line right here. Double click it, it's only going to zoom into that. Delete it, double click again, and it zooms into what's actually drawn. So again, going back to our dimension line, which is the main thing I was talking about. If you come down here, and I will probably be setting up adding a picture of how scaling works based off how we were taught. In this situation, let's go ahead and say it's like typically in architecture scale, if I wanted to have everything to like dimensionless to be shown at a let's say 1/8 scale. This isn't a big drawing. Let me go ahead and put it at 3 ohms. Too much. 1/8. You actually want to make it bigger. 3 inches equals a foot. And from here, this is the most important part, because then you're gonna have to be manually changing your dimension line scales every single time. So now when you're down here and you have it as you adjust your scale to what it is, if you zoom in and out, as you can see, it messes with it. So before you do anything, double click and have it centered and zoomed, which is what the double click scroll is. Go to whatever scaling you want it to be, which in this case is going to be 3 inches equals a foot. It barely zooms out enough so it can look good. And then you're going to want to click your viewports to be locked. From here, you can zoom in and out. It's not going to mess with your scale at all. Now, again, our dimension lines. You can't really see anything unless you zoom in all the way. But if you click preview, you're still going to have to zoom in all the way in order to see anything. So this is when you go to your annotate tab up here. Actually, we barely learned this like towards our second to last semester. That's where you're going to click update. This is going to update your dimension lines to whatever dimension style you have it to. and specifically your scale. If you click it and highlight the dimension lines, you can highlight everything if you want, but it's only going to really mess with your dimension line, and press enter. This is going to, when you actually print it out, the dimension is going to actually be printed out to 1/8 of a, like you can get a ruler and it's going to be 1/8 text height. And it's all based off, you know, whatever you have this set to scale. But you got to make sure it's locked. Otherwise, I mean, you can still zoom in and, or let's say zoom out, click it, and it'll still adjust it whatever you have it to. But just to be more organized and keeping everything consistent, have everything be to one specific. Have everything to be one specific size. Make sure you lock it. From here, you can also click dimension line or just type it in. Oops. Go ahead, just type it in, and as you can see, it's actually scaling everything to the proper way. Oops, let's not do that. The proper scale that we have it to already, compared to if we went here, like, oh look, it's everything's the same. You can finally see it again. But if you try doing your dimension here, you can see how small it actually is. But that's only if you're in model space. If you go back to paper space and again hit the update, highlight it, highlight it, press enter, it'll automatically change it to the right scale and make everything consistent. And then congratulations, you have officially made your first drawing. Even if it's just some squares and some dimension lines, you have officially done something. Now we go ahead and just finish off. You can click, you can type in preview or type in plot. This is actually going to be printed out. We'll convert it to a PDF. Once you want to print something out, you can type out plot. Everything should be set up to what you already had it to. Again, if you want it to be a PDF, have it to this, or if you want it to be a printer, then if you have whatever printer you have set up to it, it'll be that. Press OK, and then it'll start printing unless you have an error that usually revolves around connecting to the actual printer. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know I was everywhere. Again, this is pretty much a peer-to-peer experience, educational experience. Hopefully it helps somebody out. One thing that you do want to do is just keep everything very concise and neat. It helps out the people who are going to be looking at the drawings, helps yourself out, helps professors out, anybody in general. Again, thank you for watching.